fast.
Okay, faster than I am working.
Yes.
I get told that a lot in the kitchen too. Faster.
So then that comes together, and then you're going to dump in the cheddar cheese. And again, if you're doing this in the food processor, this will all come together. And as you have the metal blade, it'll come together, and as soon as it makes a ball, it's done.
Oh.
And then you just chill that dough.
So basically, we're having you do this when the finished product is right there.
Yeah. Yeah, but you won't learn anything from just saying, oh.
No, I know.
Yeah, that's me at home. No, I like this. I'm getting the...
Good afternoon from the Eyewitness News newsroom. I'm Eric Barajas. Want to take you to some breaking news right now out of the Montrose area. These are some live pictures from our jam cams right now, and you can see a 2-alarm fire is what we are getting right now from the Houston Fire Department. And this has come in as a high-rise fire at West Dallas and Marconi. Again, in the Montrose area, some thick black smoke, extremely visible right now. And we got some other shots here. You can also see flames. We're still working to get information at this point to exactly what type of structure this is. But again, at this point, it's come in as an apartment complex that is under construction, which would be some good news, meaning there were no tenants in that building, but there could have been some workers obviously working here on this structure. But again, this is right next to a small cemetery in the Montrose area at West Dallas and Marconi. Flames right there. And yeah, with that picture, it's clearly visible that this structure was under construction right now. And well, that top floor is engulfed at this point. We do have a live picture from Sky Eye HD at this point as they get much closer. And this is very near the Allen Parkway. You can see a lot of other tall buildings around this one at this point as Sky Eye gets much closer. And we do have Andy Bass in Sky Eye HD who is manning the camera there. And Andy, you know, I know you're kind of just arriving on scene here. Again, the information we're getting very preliminary at this point that this is an apartment complex under construction. But what do you know right now, if anything, Andy? Andy, do we have you there? It looks like we're still getting Andy Bass patched in. Yes, Andy, can you hear me? Okay, looks like we're still getting Andy Bass patched in, but you can see some of that structure with that is engulfed on that top floor crumbling right now. Again, an apartment complex under construction. We're still in contact with the Houston Fire Department to get some more information as to any possible injuries at this point, and of course as to what might have even sparked this fire. But take a look at the ground floor right there as well. There is another fire that has broken out on that very bottom floor, again, as the entire top floor is engulfed. Pieces of that structure now falling to the ground. Don't clearly see anyone around the structure. Hopefully everyone that was working on this building has been able to evacuate. But at this point, it looks like this building will be a complete loss because fire crews, from what we can tell at this point, haven't been able to really even respond yet. We've been scanning areas to see if there are any fire trucks on scene. But take a look to the left of your screen as well. It looks like another structure right there has some black smoke coming from it, somewhat of an L-shaped building that would almost look like a separate building. But again, it's not clear if that one is under construction or was housed at some point. But you can see some crews arriving on the scene there at the bottom in that street, and they are blocking off some of the roadways. Do we have Andy Bass in Sky IHD just yet?
Yes, I am here, Eric.
All right, Andy, I know you kind of just got on scene, and we can see this, what is an amazing picture. And Andy, I was trying to figure this out. It looks like an L-shaped building, or is this two completely different structures?
Yes, you are correct, Eric. As I'm looking at it for the first time, it looks like an L-shaped building. You can see where the flames and then that black smoke is also coming out of that other portion. I'm going to zoom into it right there. As you said, it was an L-shaped building. You can see the fire truck at the bottom of the screen setting up, blocking off that lane. As I look with my eye from Sky Eye's window, I can see a lot of apparatus just trying to get to it, but that black smoke is preventing them from going down that little side street right there. So they are having a little bit of difficulty getting to the fire.
Okay, yeah, and Andy, again, I was looking at the structure. That front facade that is in front of you, kind of to the center left, it looks like that is also under construction. It seems like there's some scaffolding there out front on that, again, that building that has the black smoke coming from the roof. Okay, yeah, it definitely is a building that is under construction. It looks like there are even a couple of construction workers out front right there. But Andy, as we were also kind of noting, it seems like this is very much in the early stages. I don't even see any fire crews yet that are able to get water on what is a massive fire at this point.
Yeah, you're correct on that one, Eric. I do see a pumper truck trying to get into position, raising its ladder truck right now. Hopefully they're going to be running hoses to the fire hydrants to get some water on this. But that's the only pumper truck I see right now. It's very hard to see what's going on the west side of the building. Right now we're stationed on the east side, right in between the fire and downtown. This is the best position for us according to Hobby Tower, so we can get everything. But yeah, this only one pumper truck that I see right now in the front of this. I'm still having a hard time getting to the back side of it to see what's going on there, but you can see a lot of apparatus just trying to get there to the scene down there, trying to get into position so they can just start putting water on this as fast as possible.
Yeah, and Andy, we've obviously covered some major fires here in the Houston area, but I mean, this appears to be a massive fire from what I've seen in recent memory.
You know what? I was just talking to the pilot about the Southwest Inn fire that we covered not too long ago, and yes, this is unfortunately a lot bigger than that one. That was contained to the the restaurant portion and the front portion of it. The whole backside was still intact of the Southwest Inn fire a few months ago. However, this one is just fully engulfed that entire area. You can see the whole L shape is just completely gone. As you said, it was under construction. You see the thick scaffolding at the bottom of there. You see the facade just completely empty, and it was being worked on. So a million things could have sparked this, and how fast it grew. We do have light winds. You can see the wind that's just pouring, coming out of the north, and it's blowing the wind to the south and the smoke to the south. I'm going to just pull back just a little bit so you can see that. But the wind is causing some problems with firefighters. You can see they're right there, the smoke just pouring over to the south with the wind coming out of the north, so they're going to have to fight that as well.
All right, Andy, and just to, again, this area, I want to kind of get viewers caught up on the area. Again, we've got the Montrose area kind of at West Dallas and Marconi. What else can you tell us about the area this structure fire's in right now?
I can tell you that Dallas and Montrose is completely shut down. I believe I'm going to put you at the intersection of Dallas and Montrose, and that's that intersection coming right in there into the middle of your screen. They are rerouting traffic, it looks like, on northbound Montrose in that area, and they're just going to have to clear out all traffic on Montrose and stop it in a couple miles in each direction. So avoid this area completely. It's not like you can't see the smoke. You can pretty much see it from I-10. You can pretty much see it from downtown 45 and all the surrounding areas around it. So if you are in this area, please avoid it if all possible.
Yeah, some of the wider shots we're also panning to from our TransStar jam cams, Andy, and our tower cams, I should say. I mean, this is almost engulfing the downtown skyline there off to offset of downtown. I mean, this is a lot of black smoke.
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. It is. It's just that the amount of smoke is just out of control right now. I mean, I can't even see through it to get on the west side of this. The fire is so intense out there. Just a lot of black smoke, and it's just gonna take them a long time to get this thing under control.
Okay, Andy, we appreciate the perspective you're giving us there from Sky IHD. If you could kind of stand by for us, we're going to get to a couple of reporters on the phone that are also kind of got an eye on this fire as well. We have Eyewitness News anchor Art Rascone on the phone right now. Art, tell us where you are and what you're seeing at this point.
Well, not too far away from the fire, and I can't really add much more of a perspective than what Andy Bass has been talking about, but wow, just the plumes of black smoke are just amazing. I am not too far, and I happen to be having lunch over here when this thing broke out, but wow, it is just covering the skyline, as you well know, with just a lot of black smoke. But, and really there's a lot of curiosity slowdown as well. I don't know if you noticed that from the Sky Eye fix, but all the traffic around it, it's just, even on the freeway when I was driving in that area, it's just coming to a stall practically because of so much black smoke that people are just wanting to see what's going on.
Yeah, Art, it sounds like a lot of people are basically stopping what they're doing to take a look at this, because when we're looking at this structure from Sky IHD, first of all, this is a massive apartment complex with, I would say, almost approaching 1,000 units. That's speculation there, but I mean, the plumes of smoke, emanating into the Houston skyline here are enormous.
Yeah, I've received a couple of videos, in fact, from friends who work in a high-rise not too far from that area, and so they're able to look down right upon the flames, and I'm going to be sending them your way in just a minute. But, yeah, just looking at that video, the place is enormous. So you're talking about all of those units, which were, of course, clearly under construction. But, wow, I mean, something like that, when it's just all wood, is just going to just ignite the flames so quickly.
Okay, Art, we appreciate the perspective there from the ground view that you've got. We'll definitely check back in with you a little bit later on to get some more perspective. Right now, we're going to take these live pictures from Sky Eye HD. Again, if you are just now tuning in, here's the preliminary information we are getting from the Houston Fire Department. You are looking at a live picture from Sky Eye HD of an apartment complex under construction in the Montrose area at the cross streets of West Dallas and Marconi here. Excuse me again. At this point, this building was not occupied. It was under construction, and it is also 1 block south of Allen Parkway, very much a populated area, and you can see the enormous plumes of black smoke that it is sending into the Houston skyline. Just another vantage point there. We talked to Andy Bass earlier. He's telling us that definitely all the roads surrounding this building are completely shut down at this point as fire crews work their way in to at least get some water on this building. I believe we finally saw one pumper truck there, kind of center left of your screen, that is dousing that top building there. It's got more black smoke coming out, but you can definitely some fire coming out of that roof. Of course, on the right-hand side of your screen, the building that was under even more construction and at a lesser stage of that top part of the building, it is engulfed at this point from the top floor all the way down to the ground floor. And you can kind of see how Sky Eye was panning around there. That wind blowing to the south, I believe Andy just told us in his report a few moments ago. But here's another picture from the tower cams that we have at our disposal, and you can clearly see the plumes of smoke going into the sky. This is visible from probably every part of Houston right now. We have another Eyewitness News reporter on the ground with different perspective. Let's go to Maya Shea right now. Maya, can you tell us where you're at and what you're seeing?
Yeah, we're on Marconi, and we're trying to get far away from the wind. Fire, we're running because we've gotten a little close to the fire, and the fire is kind of blowing this way. We're on Marconi. Smoke is very, very heavy. Marconi, we're just south of Dallas by about 2 blocks, and you can see the wind shifting this way, and there's a lot of flames, and the smoke is extremely dark.
Okay.
And then I'm sure you can see it from Sky Eye, where the flames seem to be going up very high. We just talked to a construction worker nearby. They said it was a new construction apartment, and it was a new construction apartment, and the fire started somewhere between the 3rd and 5th floors of this new construction. They said nobody actually was in any of the buildings, which is good news. I will say that this is in a heavily populated townhome area between Montrose and Midtown. There are a lot of people looking out to see what the situation is, and folks getting out their camera phones, taking videos, taking pictures. I'm a little out of breath because I'm trying to assess the situation as it is ongoing. The fire has spread to the 5th floor of this luxury apartment complex that is under construction. We can see the flames right now, kind of looking at the ceiling of this fire. And we know a lot of the workers here have been working very hard on the construction. They cannot believe what is going on in front of their eyes. We are surrounded by townhomes, patio homes. A lot of these residents are all out kind of watching, wondering when this will get under control. It is very windy. I am looking kind of north, and the wind feels like it's kind of blowing a little further west. And Eric, I know that you guys have seen on Sky HD what the smoke looks like and what the flames looks like. And let me tell you, on the ground, it looks very, very intimidating. I am now, we're about 2 blocks away from the fire right now. I wanted to get far enough away so we're not in the middle of the smoke and the flame while we can still assess the situation. And what we're looking at is definitely, we actually saw the flames. We were leaving City Hall about 10 blocks away, and we started racing this way to see what is going on. And you can definitely hear the sirens. The fire department actually trying to get here, trying to put the flames under control. Anyway, we're here on the ground. We're going to continue to assess it and bring you coverage. soon as we can.
Okay, Maya, I know you were kind of out of breath there because you had to get out of harm's way to
Yeah.
some degree. Now, you brought up a very good point. This structure is surrounded by a lot of townhomes, patio homes. If you were on the ground there and smoke was almost becoming an issue for you, it seems like smoke's going to be an issue for a lot of the higher homes right there, like townhomes and patio homes you were mentioning.
Yeah, you know what's surprising is, this is about a 5-story building. Townhomes and patio homes here are 3 to 4 stories tall. They seem slightly lower than here, and if I were one of the homeowners of these townhomes and patio homes, I would be concerned about the fire jumping to a nearby, jumping across Dallas to one of the additional homes. Now, obviously, that's a new construction. These are not connected in any way. Mm-hmm. The flames are so tall at this point. I'm not a fire expert, and it just looks like one of those things where a little more wind, the flames can just get something else very quickly. I don't know if that's actually possible because, we're not fire experts. I'm just telling you on the ground. To see a large wooden structure, we're talking about multi-family apartment complex, high-end, those things are going on, all being built throughout the loop, seeing a complete structure like that. You're talking 300-400 units going up in flames and black smoke billowing into the air, moving very, very quickly. We see a firefighter just rushing up right now in full gear from our vantage point.
Okay.
And there's obviously nothing to save at this point for the apartment building, but it's just a matter of getting the fire itself under control so it doesn't hit any of the established townhomes and patio homes with people inside and in their home inside.
Oh. All right, Maya, hey, we appreciate the great update. We're going to let you catch your breath here and reposition yourself and get you in here in another update a few minutes away once you are totally set and out of harm's way completely. Thanks again for the update, Maya. We'll check in with you in just a few minutes. As we continue to look at these pictures from Sky IHD, from the moments we first brought you this fire, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, we initially saw fire that had started on the very top floor of this structure, again, a high-end apartment complex that was under construction. The fire was just on the top floor right there, center of your screen. We have now seen it completely burn to the ground, make its way through all, I believe Maya said she has heard 5 floors. Well, it is burned to the ground in the center of your screen right there. We've gotten some new information into our newsroom right now as to who owns this property. Information we have right now is this property is owned by JLB Partners. They are based in Dallas, Texas. We're told they are aware of the fire, and we are getting in contact as soon as we can with one of their representatives. But again, if you're just tuning in, a massive luxury apartment complex that was under construction at the corners of West Dallas and Marconi, about a block south of the Allen Parkway, at this point is engulfed in flames. The black plumes of smoke now filtering the Houston skyline here. We're told that this was beginning and coming in as a 2-alarm fire. It has well surpassed that now. If there is any good news in this, we are told that no one was in the building at the time. Some construction workers are saying they believe the fire started on the 3rd to 5th floor. Again, no one was really up there. They're not sure what started the fire at this point. But Maya Shea was also telling us moments ago in her live report there on the ground that the smoke from the ground, if you're in that back side of the area where the smoke is blowing to, is very intimidating and is definitely hitting some of the other structures behind it. This is surrounded by a lot of townhomes and patio homes. We checked in with Eyewitness News anchor Art Rascone moments ago. He's kind of repositioned himself somewhat. Art, where are you this time? And tell us what you're seeing as well and hearing.
Well, what a traffic mess in this entire area. It's a very busy area, as you well know. Lots of apartments, townhomes, even homes just not too far distant from where this blaze is. But it's what it's doing is just attracting so much attention because of the massive amount of black smoke. Even though sometimes in some areas, because of other buildings surrounding it, you're not able to see the actual fire. So many people are just trying to surround this thing on the side streets that it's really causing a traffic nightmare around here. But clearly it is out of control, and as we were approaching it, and as I was just alone out here on the side, it is just amazing to look at, really, because so much is burning and the structure is so huge.
Art, I know you were out getting a quick lunch in between newscasts when you happen to come across this fire. It seems like a lot of people are just stopping what they're doing, coming out and taking a look at this. Is anybody able to tell you any more about this structure or what they might know?
Nothing other than it being just here and under construction and people watching it go up. Really nothing more than that. I don't know a lot about the structure. I've just been sort of in my car much of the time, and then I was asked to return, so we're going to be doing that. But it's not a lot of information coming out of the people here other than just them wanting to stop and look. So you have a real curiosity around this neighborhood, and for good reason when it causes that much black smoke and that much fire on such a massive structure.
Okay, Art, thanks a lot for the report. We appreciate it. We'll see you when you get back here to the station. Again, folks, trying to show you a couple of different vantage points there. We're going to take you back to Sky Eye HD. If we do have Andy Bass, it's been a while since we've checked in with him. And Andy, since I last spoke with you, we were initially seeing just a fire there on the top floor of that one structure. Now that has burned to the ground, and the other L part of the structure is engulfed at this point. We do finally see some pumper trucks on scene.
Yeah, that is correct, Eric. Since when Maya Shea went into the air, that's when we noticed that fire started to go down to the bottom floors, and all of a sudden, that entire roof on that middle section that you pointed out not too long ago just collapsed onto the first floor. So that entire structure is pretty much now down. When we first got here, I can tell you flames were anywhere between 200 to 300 feet in the air. We're cruising right now at about 13 to 1,400 feet, and we're not even at the top of the black smoke, just to tell you how large and how big the black smoke is going up into the atmosphere. With the wind out of the north, it is all blowing to the south. As you guys keep mentioning, these townhomes right on the south side of it are just being totally just completely gone with black smoke right there. So those are the houses that Maya Shea kept mentioning to us that are not in the fire line, but could possibly, get some smoke damage with them because of the way the wind is blowing out of here.
Andy,
we see more pumper trucks.
That's a good point, Andy, because Maya Shea was literally on foot on the ground and said she had to reposition herself because even at street level, the black smoke was about to overcome some people. So they were definitely running. You could hear that she was almost out of breath while she was running and giving us a live report on the phone. So, speaking to the point you just made, even the townhomes that are obviously several feet, 100 feet high, or dozens of feet high, I should say, I mean, they're going to get hit really hard by these plumes of smoke.
Yeah, you're 100% correct on that one, Eric, and it's because this one dropped down and that the smoke is now going on at the ground level as well as up in the air, so I believe that had a big possibility that why the smoke is now going to the ground and affecting a lot of people on the ground like Maya Shea. I can tell you that more pumper trucks are starting to get here. They're starting to get more water, at least on this L-shaped building that I can tell. I tried to go to the backside, but the smoke is just too thick over there. I couldn't get a good picture of it on that side to see what pumper trucks are there, but they're starting to get a lot more water, especially on the L section.
Yeah, Andy, this is just unreal. It's amazing. Again, you and I got on the air probably about 15 minutes ago, and again, that fire on the far right side of our screen was just on the top floor. That is all but gone now. It is burned entirely to the ground, and it seems at this point, Andy, there are some structures behind that apartment complex that was under construction, correct?
I believe you're correct on that one. What you're looking at right now is, I believe, a stairwell. That's the only thing that's remained from that first section that when we first arrived on here. The structures behind it, like I said, we're having a hard time getting to the back side of the fire, and that would be the west side of Houston because of the black smoke that's over there. So we can't tell you what kind of structures are behind it and are being affected at this point. Hopefully, once they get a better control on the fire, we could sneak back there and take a peek.
Andy, we appreciate the great information you're giving us here again from an HD picture from Sky Eye. It's just unbelievable what we're seeing. We will check back with you in just a moment. Folks, I do want to let you know we've just gotten even more information into our newsroom at this point. We've gotten in contact with the mayor's office. Jay Evans tells us, as far as he knows, there are no injuries reported, and it's unknown what may have caused the blaze at this time. We know the Houston Fire Department has called for many of their tower trucks. Those are the ones that have longer towers to hit flames from much higher above, and they are getting those on scene right now. But again, if you are just now tuning in, this is a luxury apartment complex that was under construction at the corner of West Dallas at Marconi in the Montrose area, 1 block south of the Allen Parkway. Some preliminary information we got into our newsroom from people on the ground there. Our reporters said that a construction worker has said a fire started on the 3rd to 5th floor while no one was in the building. And then at this point, here is where we are now. We're about 20 minutes into this fire that we saw very in its early stages, and now that one part of the building that is on your right-hand side of the screen is all but gone. We do see more pumper trucks on scene. We had Eyewitness News anchor Art Rascone there on ground level as well, along with Maya Shedd, telling us that in this Montrose area of Allen Parkway and West Dallas, it is a complete traffic nightmare at this point. As you can imagine, HFD has shut down several roads surrounding this apartment complex that was under construction. And we do have an eyewitness as well on the phone right now. We want to get to, can you hear me? I believe we have Lauren House on the phone.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lauren, thanks a lot for calling in. Tell us where you are at this point and what you're seeing.
I'm on Montrose in West Dallas. I am seeing the new apartment that's just been leased out on fire. It started from the ground up, from the right side to the left. Across the street is a gas station.
Okay, Lawrence, at this point, did you see anything when the initial stages of the fire began? Anybody running from the fire? Have you been able to talk to anybody who was telling you that they were maybe working there, a construction worker, anything like that? Anybody see anything?
No, sir. The only person I seen that was a guy. His name was, I'm not sure what his name was. He said he was just about to lease them out. He just came from getting something to eat.
Mm-hmm. Have you?
And after,
yeah.
Sir?
I'm sorry. You know, we've seen a few massive fires in our time here in the Houston area. Have you ever seen anything like this from the ground where you're standing?
No, sir. This is just ridiculous. I've never seen nothing like this, sir.
And I'm not sure exactly what intersection you're at or where you're at, but some parts of this, from what we can see from Sky IHD right now, have already burned to the ground. What kind of damage are you seeing?
The streets is torn up, glass everywhere. I'm glad nobody just ain't get hurt.
Okay. Lawrence House, again, giving us an eyewitness description from the ground right there. Lawrence, we appreciate you calling in. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, again, folks, you're looking at a live picture from Sky IHD of what was a luxury apartment complex under construction. Parts of it have all but burned to the ground as we look at pictures from Sky IHD. Andy, you're getting a better vantage point now, if you can hear me. I can see off to the far right side of the screen, and pumper trucks are back there. It looked like this is going to be behind the structure, but do you know what we're looking at right now?
Yeah, we're now going on the north side of the fire. I'm going to pull back just a little bit. So we are just now going on the north side of the AIG building, just to give you a perspective of exactly where we are. You can see down here, here's the parking lot to a couple of office buildings, and also maybe a parking lot to the complex that's on fire. You can see a lot of pumper stations, pumper trucks down there starting to pour water onto it from all sides. You got it on the north, south, and east and west as of right now. As I pan just a little bit more, you can see all the people that have come out to take a look at it. You know, they're really close to the fire, but they do have marshals down there trying to keep the people away from there as well. So you can see a lot of pedestrians out there just taking a look at it because, yeah, like you said, this is not something you see every day, even though that we have seen a couple of these over the last couple of months and years. But, yeah, they're definitely getting more water to it as the structure, because there's not a lot into it. There's just a lot of wood and a lot of building materials. You know, not a lot of people live there, so there wasn't a lot of furniture to keep it going and a lot of other stuff. It's just burning materials right now. I believe that's in the advantage of the firefighters, that they don't have to contain with anything else in there. So hopefully they're getting the upper hand with all these pumper trucks.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can obviously see how eyewitnesses are going to come out. I mean, this is going to draw some attention. And again, I guess the way this building was configured, it looked like an L-shaped building, but then we see another little sliver of it coming up beside what appears to be a parking garage right there.
That is correct. It looks like there was a parking garage adjacent to the building on the back side of it. That would make it the west side. You can see that's pretty much intact and hasn't caught fire yet. But everything around it, the units all around it to the south, to the north, and that L shape on the other side is just completely gone and just still burning. All
right. And also, we'd gotten some word from the mayor's office that the Houston Fire Department has called in many of their tower trucks, and definitely from some of the first shots we got of this fire, Andy, it looks like a lot more pumper trucks are now on scene, and it seemed like they were even engaging this fire from the front and the rear of the building.
Yeah, they are definitely, like the pumper truck right there. It's got 2 sprayers going right now. One is going to the north side of the building. The other one's just trying to get the west side over by the parking garage. You can see another pumper truck coming into the view off to the left side as well. I think we got at least 2 or 3 on this side, maybe just 1, maybe because of the smoke and how big and thick it was earlier. They couldn't get a pumper truck over onto this side, but you could just tell that this whole backside, all the 4 floors below the top one is still intact. But if it's going to be like the other one, that might collapse over the time, as it takes.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, at this point, Andy, it looks like by the end of this, firefighters are just going to be putting out hot spots because part of this structure is already burned to the ground, and now it looks like this fire is so intense that we're looking at right now from you. They are trying their best, but it looks like it's burning so hot it's going to take out several floors as well.
Absolutely, and I believe they're just trying to prevent it from going anywhere else. If you look now, I could give you a better shot of all the townhouses off to the south side of it. Sorry, it's a little fast there, but you can definitely see all the townhouses that were affected by that big black smoke when we first arrived on scene. You could definitely tell that those were being affected by the smoke, and maybe that's why they couldn't get the pumper trucks over there.
Yeah, if there is any good news in this at all, is first, this building was not occupied. Secondly, from what we can tell on Sky Eye HD, Andy, this has not spread to any other structures. And other thing here is we are seeing some white smoke, which is always a good sign because that means firefighters are getting at least making some progress on the fire, getting some water on it as we kind of pan to some of our other tower cams. But yeah, Andy, from what we've gathered so far, no injuries at this point. And, well, you're giving us a shot right there of, well, that is just essentially burned to the ground.
Yeah, the white smoke that you see is probably from a couple of floors that have already been, damaged and gone down to the ground. They're just probably putting out those hot spots like you just mentioned. You could just see just to the east of it how much fire is still left on the ground units. On the other side of that, you can see just pumper trucks still trying to pour water on that. I believe it's contained to this one, this complex. It has not jumped to any of the other complexes surrounding, which is good news. I did see a couple of firefighters with just hoses going around, just spraying down some of the other homes on there just to make sure that nothing else gets caught, which is always a preventative thing. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, the fires that we have covered here, this is pretty amazing that nobody has been injured throughout this whole thing as of right now.
Andy, doesn't it also seem this fire burned, this building, I should say, burned so fast and intensely?
It did burn fast and intensely. The pilot and I were just saying how fast that it just engulfed the entire thing and then collapsed from the top floor all the way down to the bottom floors on the main units that you're looking at right now. I mean, like I said, Maya Shea was talking, talking about the fire, talking about everything, and all of a sudden that entire top floor collapsed and hitting, the 4th floor, the 3rd floor, down to number 1, and that's where it is, and that's where they're fighting the fire right now. Everything is on the ground floor on this side, which is good news. It can give them a little better advantage, but you got everything on the L shape that we've been bringing you that unfortunately I can't see because of where we're at right now, and the smoke is just definitely intensified as I pull back. You can't even see that other fire on that L shape right now, and that just tells me it's still intense in there.
Okay, Andy, we appreciate the perspective. We'll let you kind of reposition yourself and take a quick break, and then we'll check in with you momentarily. Again, if you're just catching up with us right now, we are going on around 40 minutes that we initially got a call out of HFD dispatch that a high-rise was on fire again in the Montrose area at West Allis and Marconi, about a block south of the Allen Parkway. We've now since learned that this was a luxury apartment complex under construction. We're told from the mayor's office that as far as they know, there are no injuries reported, and of course at this time it's not known what may have caused the blaze, but HFD had to bring in some serious equipment to get a handle on this. They brought in what are known as their tower trucks. They have a much longer tower to hit flames from much higher above. And in the 40 minutes that we've been bringing you live pictures from tower cams and also Sky Eye HD, we saw a fire begin on the 5th floor of this high-rise apartment complex, and many parts of it have since burned to the ground as Sky Eye HD pans around to the backside of this fire. At one point, the winds, we heard from Maya Shea, were blowing so aggressively to the south that she was on foot kind of behind the apartment complex and had to reposition herself and essentially run to a safer spot because the black smoke was so intense even at ground level. So we know it was very tough for people surrounding this area. As Maya Shea also noted to us as well, Right in this area surrounding West Dallas and Marconi are a lot of townhomes and patio homes. So the good news here, when you take a look at this fire, from what we've seen over the 40-minute period, is there is a lot more white smoke, which means firefighters are getting a lot more water on the smoke, turning that black smoke to white and actually getting an upper hand. But the center structure you see on your screen, we thought it might be another building. That, in fact, is a parking garage that was probably linked to this several hundred unit apartment complex. That is made of concrete for the most part and has seemed to survive most of the fire. But that is a building that was connected to the apartment building. It is not a separate structure. So at this point, we don't know of any other structures that have been affected by this huge fire in the Montrose area. Again, we've been able to confirm the property owners. They are JLB Partners based out of Dallas. We are told they are aware of the fire at this point. We're trying to get in contact with them to let us know more about this structure and see what else they can tell us at this point. We've got more witnesses calling into our newsroom right now. We have, I believe, Chris on the phone. He's an eyewitness right now calling into our newsroom. Chris, can you tell us where you're at and what you're seeing?
Yeah, sure. I'm at West Dallas and Montrose Boulevard, and it was around 12:35 to 12:40 when a friend and I were at my apartment in Midtown. We were about 3/4 of a mile away, I would say, 3/4 to a mile away, and we saw billowing black smoke. He came running in and said, "I don't know what's burning, but I'm going to take off and head that way." We actually found some folks in a car to take us part of the way here. We hitched a ride. When we got here, I mean, it was just for 15, 25, maybe even 30 minutes, billowing black smoke that you could see for, surely miles away. And it looks like a new-ish or under construction apartment complex that has all wooden scaffolding on the outside, and the wooden scaffolding was burning like a big bonfire. I was a television news reporter in Oregon 10 to 15 years ago. I've seen forest fires and structure fires before, but I've never seen so much wood on the outside of a building burning like a big bonfire.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Chris. We spoke with another reporter just moments ago, Maya Shea. She was trying to get a live report into us via her phone and actually had to start running and reposition herself. Again, this was about 20 minutes ago when it was a lot more intense, but she was saying that thick black smoke was so aggressive, even at foot level, that she had to kind of run and get to a better spot where she could breathe much easier. Did you see kind of that thick black smoke penetrating all the way down to the street level?
It depends on what street you were on. If you were on West Dallas Street, west of Montrose Boulevard, yes, there was, and there still is, black smoke and gray smoke that's down to the street level, but they have that street, that section of street pretty clear of people. Most of the bystanders I'm seeing were on, are on where I'm standing now, east of Montrose Boulevard. And because of the way the wind is blowing, it looks like it's blowing from seems like the northeast, and it's blowing,
south.
The smoke. Yeah, I mean, it's blowing the smoke south and west, and they have that block pretty well cleared off.
Okay. Chris, thank you very much for giving us some eyewitness perspective from the street level there. Chris, again, we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
All right, we're going to take you back to these live pictures from Sky IHD. Again, this is a luxury apartment complex under construction. Many parts of it, we're told a several hundred unit building here, have already burned to the ground. The fire you're seeing ground level, that was several hundred units that were 5 stories high. All you're seeing now left are some concrete stairwells, and to the back of them, a concrete parking lot. The smoldering ashes on the ground were once a 5-story luxury apartment building. As Sky Eye kind of pans even back, you can see the white smoldering roof that was. You see that tower truck from HFD, center of your screen, spraying. When we started this broadcast, this breaking news, there was a roof, a shingled roof there. That has since burned off, and now you're looking at structures from the top, what would be the 5th floor level of this apartment building, again under construction at West Dallas and Marconi. Too early to say what's caused or started this blaze, but the good news here from what we've gathered so far, it was under construction. Obviously, there were no tenants inside. It was not occupied, and construction workers were able to evacuate. We're told initially someone saw something starting on the 3rd to 5th floor of this building under construction. But again, that is preliminary and no word yet on what caused it. But HFD has had to bring in some serious equipment at this point. You're seeing a lot of what's called their tower trucks, and those are brought in when they need to get fire very high above a structure to essentially beat down the flames from a much higher vantage point. So we're counting at least 3 to 4 from this side. And Andy, we've checked in with you a couple of times now. We've kind of repositioned to, I guess, what you could call the front of the building, if you will. And I was just talking about moments ago, when you and I started this, there was a roof on this building, and that has since burned off.
Yeah, I was going to mention that to you. I would say over the last 5 minutes that roof that was intact on the L shape of this building when we first arrived on scene was intact. I mean, there are still pieces of that roof that are still completely intact and still not even watered or even remotely affected by the fire. You can see right there. But that entire roof was extending all over that L-shaped side of it. I can also say that some of the windows and some of the doors that are still in there, you can see that they were just probably put in. Some of them aren't even in, and that was probably what was throwing the smoke onto the ground level as they were trying to put as much water on it when we first got here, and that's why the smoke probably got down onto the ground level for Maya Shea and a lot of the people, the pedestrians that were on the south side of it. For the other part of it here, like you just mentioned, only that's left are 2 stairwells. You can see that. More thick black smoke is coming out of this. We were just talking that this side actually went white smoke not too long ago, but you can see that something actually just caught back up here, and I believe that's the northwest corner that just caught, so you're going to see another pumper truck going over into there and starting to put some water on that. But yeah, I've never seen a fire consume a place like this as fast as it did. Like we said, before we knew it, this entire structure was completely gone and just level to the ground floor. And as fast as that roof was intact when we first got here, and that was completely gone as well. It's just amazing how fast that this is destroying this place.
It really is. Andy, if you could kind of pan back to those stairwells, because for anybody just tuning in, it really gives perspective here. Folks, if you're just now tuning in, you see those stairwells Andy noted, those concrete stairwells. It's kind of tough to see right now, but at one point when we started this live picture from Sky HD, there were floors. The 5th floor reached to the top of that stairwell. Now they've collapsed, and all there is smoldering ash at this point. And yeah, Andy, you noted kind of another plume of black smoke and fire breaking out there, kind of center left of our screen. Not exactly sure what that is, but at this point, obviously this part of the building is a complete loss. And Andy, since we've kind of started this this breaking news story here, the fire broke out around 12:30, 12:40. So that would put us around 50 minutes at this point. And it seems like HFD has really gotten a lot of their serious equipment out there and has gotten a much better hand on this fire.
They definitely gotten a better hand on it, especially now that it's collapsed from the 5th floor or the 3rd floor where it started on this side. It's much easier to put the water on it on the ground floor. I can tell you on the L shape here, which is also over by the parking garage, it's already gone to the bottom on this one, which I didn't believe on the west or east side of it. Those 4 or 5 floors were still intact, but I can almost guarantee that the back side of this L shape is probably going to go down to the 1st floor, just like this other portion did, because just how intense and how big that flame is just looking at it from this side. You can see one pumper truck there trying to put on as much water as possible, but it's just not having any luck.
Andy, you bring up a great point, because just across the street, if that was to collapse, I mean, there are several rows of patio homes and townhomes, basically just a few dozen feet if that building was to collapse right there. Hopefully HFD can get the upper hand on that. Andy, again, thank you very much for the live report and live pictures from Sky HD. We want to go now to Eyewitness News reporter Maya Shea. She continues to kind of reposition herself. And Maya, we last spoke with you. You were having to kind of run out of that black smoke that was definitely penetrating to the street level. Tell us where you're at now and what you're seeing and what you found out since then.
Well, yes, the last time you spoke to me, I was actually off of Marconi, south of Dallas. And the black smoke was coming our way. So a lot of eyewitnesses, people who were milling about, were moving back a couple of blocks because we frankly were not sure which way the fire was going. At this point, I can tell you that the smoke has lightened up dramatically from our vantage point. The top 3 floors of this new construction seems to be fully gutted. We're seeing like open windows where glass panes were just about an hour ago. We see 2 ladder trucks that have pulled up right at the corner of Dallas and Marconi. As you have been hearing from Sky HD most of the morning, that most of the last hours, that fire departments have been attacking the fire from all different angles. That's certainly the case, that these fire trucks at Dallas and Marconi just showed up within the last 10 minutes or so. they're positioning themselves now relatively close to the buildings because we can see that the smoke is lightened up to almost an ashy white instead of that dark rolling black, which we saw earlier. And now we are seeing that the fire trucks, excuse me, have actually positioned themselves really close to the building, and they're trying to kind of tamp down any remaining flames. What we do see that it is no longer the rolling flames going out of the roofs and in danger of jumping into the building next across the street from Dallas, at least not from our vantage point. We're seeing a lot of homeowners in the neighborhood, folks who live here, are basically very, very close. They're basically standing at the corner of Dallas and Marconi, right behind a gas station, block over from Montrose, and they're keeping a very close eye on the situation.
Yeah,
we can still smell the smoke, and you can hear the crackling of parts of the building as it literally falls to the ground. And obviously, a lot of people are on their cell phones and trying to communicate that they're okay, or just reporting the scene for posterity. So cell signals at points in this area, in the Montrose area, a little weak right now, but we see the firefighters are here, and a lot of onlookers wondering at this point, is everybody okay? From what we've seen, some of the construction workers out here, they say everybody got out. They said that there's nobody inside, but of course we have to wait until the fire department gives us that official response before we can rest easy. We do know a lot of construction workers did manage to get out, and they're, of course, certainly excited that they're not in the middle of this, and that right now they are mere observers.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, Maya. I know everything's very fluid and very preliminary at this point, but I know you were able to make contact with a few other construction workers moments ago, and they were saying that they felt they had seen something start on the 3rd or 5th floor of one of these apartment buildings?
Yes, so the guys, when we were trying to reposition our trucks and we just rolled onto the scene, what they told us is they thought that the fire started somewhere between the 3rd and 5th floor. Exactly what might cause it, whether it's some sort of construction-related thing or, could it be electrical? Was the electricity circuit even turned on in this building in the construction phase? None of that we know yet. That's something that will have to come in the days or weeks to come as a part of the investigation. But what we do know is that this building is still very raw. It was not finished on the inside. We can see plastic and glass just being installed. It's fully scaffolded, so workers were going up and down on all 5 floors. And what we do know is that under these circumstances, a lot of times things go very quickly. And when the fire started, it was just, get out. Don't hesitate. Don't kind of wonder how it all started. Who cares? Just get out. Make sure you're safe. Make sure your coworkers are safe. Let the firefighters do their job and go from there. And, of course, for a lot of the, inside the Montrose Midtown area, we're seeing more density. More buildings are built closer together. Houses, patio homes, townhomes, everything's attached or very close together. So a lot of folks live around here. They might know their neighbors. They're also concerned about, will one fire lead to another? Will it jump across to my home that's already been here a couple of years, or my neighbor's house? That's their other concern. That does not seem to be happening, which is a good idea. Now, I'm seeing some investigators on the ground beginning to ask questions of some of the folks around here. So hopefully, if folks tune back in a couple later editions of Eyewitness News, we'll definitely get some definitive answers to exactly what happened. But first things first, they're still trying to make sure the fire's out, and we can definitely still see flames, so we know there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I understand that, Maya. And again, going back to that smoke, it seems that there's a bit of good news from Sky HD at this point. A lot of white smoke, it seems to be dissipating from our vantage points on Sky Eye HD. From your ground level perspective, does it seem like the smoke that was definitely emanating into the Houston skyline, is it dissipating as well from your vantage point?
Yes, so you can definitely smell the smoke. There's no doubt about that. But I will say, when we first came up to Dallas and Marconi, the southern kind of corner of this apartment building, we first came up, we could see the dark smoke and the flames of people who kind of have walked very close up to Dallas were going back. I mean, we didn't know if this was going to spread, so people ran back a few blocks. That has since dissipated. We see homeowners, the fire truck, and bystanders all kind of pushing forward to the Dallas line. So they definitely feel safer. They don't feel like things are going to spread anymore. They feel like this is the neighborhood ambiance seems to feel, this fire is mostly under control, and folks feel safer edging a little bit closer. Probably the firefighters would not like it. There are a lot of folks who live around here, and they are all out. with their cell phones at Dallas and Marconi, watching and recording it all.
All right, Maya, thank you very much for that live update there. Street level there on scene. We'll let you continue to reposition and work your contacts. Again, Maya Shea reporting there from Dallas and Marconi at the scene of the fire. Maya, we'll check in with you shortly. We've also got some, as Maya noted in her live report right there, a lot of Eyewitness News viewers have been sending in their own cell phone videos and pictures. I believe we have a few of those right now. Take a look at this, folks. This was obviously much earlier, and an intense fire you're looking at from a cell phone video shot. Well, no telling exactly when, but it was definitely when the fire was much more intense. And you can see it was a building under construction at this point, which is good news. Thankfully, this was not occupied in any way. Here's another vantage point, another shot from another cell phone. We see a fire truck on scene here. This is when the fire started. It was only on the 5th floor, and in a matter of 1 hour, we've seen that entire building burn to the ground. It is nothing but ambers and hot spots right now that HFD is continuing to kind of work and put out. Some of the cell phone video very telling as to what we've seen play out over an hour here that we've been on air when the fire initially started. Again, if you're just now tuning in, this is a luxury apartment complex that was under construction at the West Dallas area and Marconi, about a block south of Allen Parkway. And fire crews, the Houston Fire Department, still on scene, dousing that front building that at one point did have a shingled roof on it. You can still see part of that roof remaining there on the front corner, but many parts of it are burned off. And then obviously this was at once an L-shaped building that went to the top right of your screen. That is the area that is now burned to the ground. And this has obviously went to 5 alarm at some point. And we've also spoken with the mayor's office as well. We are hearing from the reps in that office that there are no injuries reported at this time, which is some good news. And of course, the cause of the fire remains under investigation at this point. We've had a Sky IHD in the air the entire time. Andy Batts has been manning the camera there and also giving us live reports. Andy, good news continues to give us even a better story here from the pictures we're seeing. We can see much lighter smoke here, and it looks like firefighters might be able to salvage this front building here.
Yeah, it looks like they might be able to salvage that. You can see at least 3 pumper trucks still trying to douse that front section with as much water as possible. You notice that the roof is completely gone on this side, which was attacked when we first pulled up. I can tell you a cherry picker, one of the equipment for the construction guys down there, did catch fire. That's what the black smoke is pouring out on that northeast corner was. It was a cherry picker, the tires, and I'm sure it had some fuel in it, and that's why that black smoke is continuing to burn there. So that's not this part of the structure, but they will put water on that eventually. For the most part, you know, I still can't get to the back, and I'm going to call this the southwest side of the building where that intense fire is still going, and that's where 90% of that black smoke is coming from. Still can't get over on that side. We believe that's where the fire is being concentrated on, and that was on the 5th floor all the way down to the 1st floor. We're waiting for that side to see if it was going to collapse and have any problems on the streets that on the south side of the building, but still can't get back there. But the better news is a lot more white smoke than we first piled up, and that's good news, and they seem to be getting the upper hand on it.
Yeah, Andy, and again, as we noted earlier, HFD has a lot of equipment on this fire right now. A lot of those tower trucks we were talking about that have those extended ladders that can really get up and over the building and get that water down into it, being a high-rise 5+ story building here, and it looks like that is definitely helping in their efforts to knock down the fire.
Absolutely, and with some of the windows blown out or not even installed yet, I've been seeing the water shoot through some of these buildings, get onto the ground, get onto the lower floors. So that's actually just going to help them that there's no windows and they can get those tower trucks getting as much water all over the place as much as they possibly can.
And Andy, moments ago we spoke with Eyewitness News anchor Art Rascone. He was down there just a few streets away as well, kind of giving us his perspective from what he could see with his own set of eyes. He was also telling us that it's a traffic nightmare down there. Obviously, HFD is going to come in and shut down several roads. From what you can see right now, I mean, obviously the immediate roads surrounding this building are shut down, but are you seeing a kind of a huge shutdown of area roads right here in this apartment complex?
As you know, Dallas and Marconi are completely shut down. That's the intersection right there. I'm going to pan to the north. This is, I believe, on Marconi going north, or maybe Dallas going north. They have completely shut this down from Allen Parkway all the way south, so you cannot access this road from Allen Parkway right now. And that's what I can tell from here as I come further south from the fire. I know they're rerouting traffic onto San Felipe, maybe even Westheimer down here. You can see a couple of cars just making that U-turn right there, so you can't go any further north than this road right here. They will turn you around, and I just see traffic, just an absolute nightmare, as you say. All the surrounding roads around here are just at a standstill. People can't go anywhere. Maybe they'll get a couple of officers out here to direct traffic around here, but yeah, everything is pretty much at a standstill in and around the area.
Andy, one thing we've been talking about here is, thankfully, because this building was not occupied, no reported injuries, just a lot of construction workers doing their job that were able to get out. Have you seen any ambulances on scene at all by chance that were maybe leaving or still kind of being manned and on scene that might indicate otherwise that there might be some injuries?
Believe it or not, I mean, I am looking now. I have not seen too many ambulances. It's all the fire trucks and all the tower trucks just trying to get to the scene. Since there was no search and recovery of any people inside the unit, they just probably went, you know, all the way out to get the water as fast as possible. I do see one ambulance down there. I believe in the center of your screen right now. It's hard to tell behind the tree, but yeah, they're just being manned. You know, when the fire rescue trucks come out, the ambulances usually come inside with them. So I'm just guessing they're probably just standing here for precautions. There's one right there at the bottom of your screen I'm going to zoom into right now, and he's just off the roadway. He's actually in someone's driveway, you know, just standing there.
All right, Andy, again, you've given us so many vantage points and so many great insights to this fire. We'll let you kind of reposition if you need to and get you a quick break and check in with you momentarily. Andy, thanks again. We've also got another reporter on scene who's arrived just moments ago, Tom Abrams. Tom, let us know where you're at and what you're seeing at this point.
Yeah, we're here at the corner of Montrose and Dallas. We're right in front of the building. You can see firefighters with their ladder trucks getting the flames out. That smoke slowly turning from a dark, thick black into a wispy white. Arson investigators we've just seen walk up on the scene, as would be standard in a fire like this where you don't know the cause of the fire. All of these streets in and around this area have been shut down. We came up off Clay. It was shut down at Montrose. Montrose completely closed to any traffic other than pedestrian. Dallas completely shut down. Firefighters keeping a lot of people back from these flames as the wind certainly was an issue as they tried to put them out. It does look like they have it under control, at least here on this corner. The smoke again dissipating significantly from what it was just 15-20 minutes ago, but a very active scene here. A lot of onlookers, fire investigators just now arriving here at the scene to figure out exactly how this started. The good thing about today, it's not terrifically hot, and so for the firefighters themselves, they're not dealing with more elevated than it might be just from the fire itself. You know, the last time we had an alarm go to 4 or 5 like this one was that hotel fire in Southwest Kitchen, and our temperature was so much hotter, which created a lot of problems for the firefighters working. They had to shuttle them in and out. That's not necessarily a factor in terms of getting the flames out, but it looks like from this vantage point that they've gotten them out, gotten it under control, and are now making sure that no hot spots reignite. Eric?
All right, Tom, we appreciate the report. I know you were kind of saying that the smoke there is really dissipated, and it doesn't seem to be an issue for anybody there on ground. I know Maya Shea said at one point the black smoke was very aggressive and might pose some problems for people in that area, but it seems like things have gotten much better in the last 20 to 30 minutes.
It's certainly that case. There was an acrid smell in the air for quite a while. That seems to have somewhat dissipated too. Again, you can see that they've got multiple trucks spraying water on it. We know that it took them a little bit of time to get water on it as that fire spread very quickly on the top floors, the 4th, 5th, 6th floor of that apartment building that was under construction. It does seem as though at this point they've stopped it from spreading beyond this structure. And I know when Maya was first reporting from the scene, with the way the wind was blowing and the smoke was blowing, there certainly was a lot of concern because of the dense architecture of this part of Houston and the fact that you have a lot of townhomes, zero lot line structures that could have very easily caught fire. But it appears as though firefighters calling that 5th alarm got as many crews as they could get here as quickly as they could get here to get the flames under control.
Yeah, and Tom, you've been a journalist in this town for a long time. You've seen and covered a lot of things. What do you think about just the sheer size of this building that is burned to the ground in some parts?
Well, I think it's fortunate that it was under construction and that there wasn't anybody living in there, because as quickly as this thing went up, and it probably went up as quickly as it did in part because it was under construction and you wouldn't have all of the fire safety walls that you might have otherwise, but this certainly went up very quickly in a way that you might see some of the older apartment buildings that have gone up in parts of town where before they had those firewalls in the attics that would prevent the fire from spreading from unit to unit. I mean, this happened very quickly. Jesus and Maya, my photographer, and I were on our way back from the southeastern part of town. Initially, we saw some white smoke and nothing more than that. And then within just a matter of minutes, that thick black plume of smoke shooting several hundred feet up into the air. This is one of the larger fires I've seen in the 15 years I've been here.
All right, Eyewitness News anchor Tom Abrams at the intersection of Montrose and Dallas covering this fire for us. Tom, we'll let you continue to gather information and check in with you later on. Thanks again, Tom. We've gotten some more information here into our newsroom again. Obviously, this went to a 5-alarm structure fire. HFD was dispatched to this fire around 12:30 this afternoon. So we are looking at almost an hour and 20 minutes this building, and most of it has just burned to the ground. Again, this is a high-rise apartment building under construction. As of right now, no reported injuries. What a great thing to hear, given the massive fire this structure just underwent. Again, at this point, we know that HFD has sent more than 70 units and has dispatched the scene with nearly 200 personnel responding to this incident. Also got another news alert in from the Office of Emergency Management. They're asking any motorists to please avoid the Montrose and West Dallas area so they do not delay emergency vehicles that are trying to make their way to the scene. So if you're in this area and are trying to make your way around, just go ahead and try it another day and avoid this area altogether. If you're just now tuning in, let me get you up to date at this point. You're looking at what was a luxury apartment complex under construction at the corner of West Dallas and Marconi in the Montrose area. The structure was reported under fire at around 12:30 this afternoon, so about an hour and 20 minutes. It's about a block south of the Allen Parkway. Initial reports saw some fire break out on the 3rd to 5th floor of the building. And since that hour and 20 minutes has expired, we've seen one section of this building, top right of your screen, completely burned to the ground. That one structure you're seeing in the center of your screen did have a roof on it at one point. That has since burned off as fire trucks have their tower trucks out there getting fire on top of that roof. From what we know right now, no other structures adjacent to this apartment building have been affected. That charred building you're seeing in the center of your screen was the parking garage that was to service this luxury apartment building here. So that is obviously made of concrete and is still standing. But you can see fire crews trying to at least salvage that front building there, but also knock out some hot spots. We have another live report I want to get you to. Rick Flanagan right now with the Houston Fire Department, I believe. And Rick, we have you live on right now. What can you tell us about this, what was a 5-alarm fire?
Well, no, that's the Office of Emergency Management. I can tell you right now that there's a tremendous amount of fire damage that is impacted. We don't know if this is one building or not. It's really not safe to work in that area. Right now, we're looking at establishing some type of support resources to go in with heavy equipment so that we can attempt to go forward with a management process to peel each and every piece of this building back so that the firefighters can determine that nobody's inside. There's a tremendous amount of work left. You can see we've got the streets blocked off, a lot of heavy water supply lines that they need to supply the water to the heavy appliances as they continue to drench this fire. It's going to be a while before you get the hand lines in. There's an investigative phase that needs to go to this. And at the same time, once you start that investigative phase, then we'll get more intel about, is this one particular structure or 2 or 3 different companies? We don't know. The main concern we have right now is that they're going to be here for the rest of the day, and in another couple of hours, we're going to start going into heavy traffic flow for this afternoon. If the general citizens that live in that area or those that normally travel in that area, they need to start making plans right now to reroute and take another route home, because this entire area is going to be tied up for the rest of the afternoon. I want to say hopefully that nobody may be inside this structure. At the same time, the firefighters, we want them to remain safe, and they're putting together their management plans. And I think you can understand that they've done a good job and made good headway on this fire. This entire building right now has been damaged, so I'm quite sure with the support of engineers and the fire chiefs that are out there, they will probably put together a good management plan before they go forward and start getting inside and working, peeling this building back piece by piece.
Okay, information we've gotten so far, Mr. Flanagan, and this was a luxury apartment complex under construction. Do you know if that is for sure at this point?
Not sure on the intel right now. I have passed that way myself several times, probably in the last couple of months. I do know it's a new construction, but I think we do recall just the last 30 or 40 minutes or so, there was a tremendous amount of fire inside this whole complex. And it's basically just made an open pathway from one end to the other. So right now, safety is the primary concern. Accountability is right there at the top as well. And the firefighters need to remain safe. But streets are going to be impacted this afternoon, and there's a tremendous amount of work left for the firefighters.
You were talking about some of the equipment you guys need to get in there right now. What is the type of equipment you're referring to?
Well, they're probably looking at some possible track hose or some specialized equipment. They'll get with the incident commanders, and they'll make a decision on exactly what their assets are, and then we'll reach out to Public Works and get those equipment pieces over there so they can utilize it. The other thing is that we're going to have to continue to have water supply. We'll go from the heavy streams that you see that they're utilizing right now. So they'll probably use some hand lines, but that's going to be a little bit farther along in the equation.
All right, Mr. Rick Flanagan from the Houston Office of Emergency Management telling us to, motorists anyway, to stay clear of the area so they continue to work this fire and get more equipment to that area. We will heed that advice, Mr. Flanagan. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, folks, you continue to see these live pictures from Sky Eye HD, just a much larger vantage point as Sky Eye's making its way slightly to the north side of this structure. Again, information we've gotten into our newsroom, and this was a luxury apartment complex under construction. The huge structure you see in the center of your screen is a concrete parking garage that was going to service the apartment complex. Obviously, that is still standing, being made of concrete, but the apartment complex around it, you can see, has in many areas completely burned to the ground. We have another eyewitness on the street level that's going to call in and give us some really good information. We have Larry Reed. And Mr. Reed, what can you tell us right now, Mr. Reeder?
Well, I'm up on 18 at the Wortham Tower, and about 12:25, I looked out my window and saw some sparks on the top of the building around some air-conditioned units. And it was probably 5 or 10 minutes before somebody got up there to try to do something about it, and they tried a fire extinguisher that didn't work, and I guess within 20 minutes that whole roof was on fire, and now it's been less than about an hour and a half, and it's burned to the ground.
It definitely has in some areas, Mr. Reeder. And now, again, what you're saying is very interesting because we got some preliminary reports from the ground from a reporter that was talking to some eyewitnesses, and they say they believe they saw something kind of start on the 3rd or 5th floor of the building, and you're kind of saying...
Well, this was on the roof.
Okay, this is on the roof, and you're getting a perspective from the Wortham Tower.
I'm looking at I'm up on the top.
Okay, you're on the 18th floor there. Okay.
Yeah, and it was probably a maybe 30-foot square area where the air-conditioned units were, and that's what was on fire.
And you could see somebody kind of run up with a fire extinguisher?
Well, they were up there doing something. They were spraying something. There was one guy up there, and it started spreading to the shingles. He couldn't. He almost didn't get down. They had to bring a ladder. He was on one of those cement ledges on the side of the building. It was about to collapse. He had to swing himself down to the 2nd level, and then by then they got a fire ladder up there to get him down.
Okay, that's the other thing I was going to ask you. You know, with the vantage point, you were basically looking down onto this building. You see this kind of incident happen where a guy tries to put out some sort of unit. Once he gets himself out of there, How long do you feel it took for firefighters to get on the scene and maybe get some water on this thing?
Well, it was hard to get to because it was very difficult. There's barricades everywhere, and it was hard. They couldn't. The fire was on the back west side of it. The fire engines came in from the east side, and it was too far away. It was the other end of the building, and by the time they got around to the other side, the whole roof was engulfed, and then they had to start spraying water to prevent it from starting the building on the front, which it didn't. And I think that one looks like it's almost gone too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does from our vantage point.
And then
again,
the
it's
one on
sky
the
high.
left, I don't know if they'll salvage that other half or not. That one on the east side, they're spraying. That's all. They've got 3 fire trucks out there now trying to spray it down.
Okay.
But
well,
I guess in an hour and 20 minutes, that front building was complete. It's nothing but rubble now.
it sure is.
They were spraying cars down so that nothing would happen to the cars that are parked in that parking lot right there.
Yeah, Mr. Reeder, and did it appear that the gentleman that was trying to put the fire out with the extinguisher, the fire,
Yeah.
did it seem like he was able to get out okay?
Yeah, he finally did. He was lucky because he got to one side of the building and got on one of those balconies, but it was looked like it was going to collapse, and he had to swing himself down from that balcony onto the one below it for the fire truck to get the ladder up there to get him down.
Oh wow! So
was scared.
he was basically rescued. You're saying
He was rescued by the ladder men. Yeah.
Okay, and you know, again, from your vantage point, you're on the 18th floor of the Wortham Tower.
Right.
Again, you're looking down on this structure, just like we can see.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
from
right
sky
now while I'm
high.
talking to you.
Tell us about how fast you think this thing burned to the ground.
Oh, it started at 12:30, about 12:25, so it's been an hour and a half, and it's complete. I mean, it was engulfed in 30 minutes, 35 minutes probably. Because we took pictures on our phone of the little bitty fire before it started. People were walking in my office. I was talking on the phone when it started. But we're looking now.
Okay,
It's gone.
well, it clearly.
It's only been an hour and a half now, and there's nothing left but
All
a
right,
little fire on the left side.
Mr. Reeder, we appreciate you very
Okay,
much calling
sure.
into our newsroom. Mr. Larry Reeder, he had a great vantage point of this fire from the 18th floor of the Wortham Tower with some good insight. Larry, thanks again. And again, we're giving you live pictures from Sky IHD as HFD continues to knock down any flames they're seeing at this point. Center of your screen, you can see was one of the last remaining pieces of the building. It's almost burned to the ground, if not close to collapsing. So HFD with several ladder trucks on this fire. You can see in one window there, flames still going intensely. I believe we have another live report from the ground right now. Eyewitness News anchor Tom Abrams. Tom, we checked in with you about 10 minutes ago now. What else can you tell us right now?
Sure, Eric. We've moved about 150 yards closer to the fire on the corner of Montrose and Dallas. And from this vantage point, we can see that there are still flames through that milky smoke on the 4th floor of this U-shaped part of the building. There are flames on that 4th floor. Firefighters not directly attacking those flames right now as much as they are concentrating on the roof of this other structure right on the corner of Dallas and Montrose. All 3 of these automated ladder trucks that have hoses extended off the end of them without firefighters at the top of them have been spraying this one particular spot that seems to be an area of concern as they continue to battle the flames. But as you look, you can now more clearly see as the smoke is blown by this incessant wind, you can see where the flames are still burning on that 4th floor and on the roof of that other portion right there along the 2500 block of West Dallas. Firefighters still actively fighting this scene, trying to keep people clear of the scene. Police have been trying to keep pretty much everybody other than firefighters and the media away from this intersection. Again, there's still a potential danger to people as this building becomes less and less stable the longer the flames tear through it. Again, very little of it left. There is a scaffolding around the outside of the building which may be helping with the integrity despite the fact that it's been burning for roughly an hour and a half now. And Eric, you know, when you first came on the air, the fire was much more intense, the smoke much thicker and darker. It does seem they have a handle on it, though they have not gotten all of the flames out, as we can see here from the corner of Montrose and Dallas.
All right, Tom, and one thing we've kind of talked about a little bit, when this initially started, we had some really serious reports about just a level of air pollution there because of that thick black smoke coming off. How would you gauge it now? Looking behind you, there's still a significant amount of smoke permeating the air right there.
Yeah, you can tell there are still a lot of particulates in that smoke. It is not purely white. There's still kind of a grayish, almost yellow, milky substance in that smoke. Of course, You can smell it. It smells acrid. That's the best way to explain it, but it's not nearly as bad as it was maybe 25 minutes ago. If you're standing where the wind is blowing, of course, it's going to be a lot worse. And as the wind shifts, and it is a little bit of a swirling wind, you do get more of that smell. Although it's not necessarily as bad as it was just a little while ago. But you can see, if you look at the water coming off of this one tower right here, this one ladder, you can see how the water, as it sprays, is being essentially dissipated by the wind before it ever hits the flames. That's how strong this wind is. It's gusty and it's swirling, and I think that's probably why firefighters now have it surrounded on all three of the sides that they can get to, because of the problem with the wind shifting. And even once they get the flames out, if there are hot spots, they will very quickly reignite. And with that wind, it can shift in an area that they're not expecting, which is why they have it surrounded right now. And I heard you report that there were 70 firefighters on scene, many of them actively engaged right now in trying to put out the flames from what is best described as a defensive posture. This is not something where they would ever want to get up close and handle this by hand. As I believe Rick Flanagan said a little while ago, that's something that will come a little later once they've gotten this under control from these ladder trucks, being very careful, because I think in part of the wind and the sheer size of the structure and the damage, they don't want to put anybody in harm's way.
All right, Eyewitness News anchor Tom Abrams there covering that scene live from the street level, saying firefighters are getting the upper hand on this and making some progress of this structure. Tom, thanks a lot. We'll check in with you later on. And we're going to take you back to a live picture from Sky IHD again. This is the Montrose area, the corner of West Dallas and Marconi. And thankfully, we've had a lot of Eyewitness News viewers sending in cell phone videos and cell phone pics. I want to show you some of the dramatic pictures we're getting right now. This is the initial start of the fire, folks. It was just the 5th floor where we heard of a fire breaking out. We heard from one eyewitness say he saw a man. He was looking down from the Wortham Tower down to the bottom top of this structure and saw a man with a fire extinguisher try to put something out, could not, had to run off and get rescued by HFD. Since we've shown or seen this picture at the beginning of the fire, this structure right here has completely burned to the ground. Started on what appears to be the 5th floor of this structure. And again, the information coming into our newsroom, this was a luxury apartment complex under construction at the corner of West Dallas. And what is unbelievable, folks, if you look in the center of your picture, slightly to the left, up a little bit, you will see a construction worker in what appears to be one of those safety vests. This definitely corroborates from what we heard from Mr. Larry Reeder, who was on the 18th floor of the Wortham Tower, and said he saw a construction worker dressed just like that within a fire extinguisher trying to put out what seemed to be a fire on some sort of AC unit or something like that. Could not do it, went out to the balcony. According to Mr. Reeder, he had to kind of swing himself down, and then luckily, if you look over to the left of your screen, you'll see that HFD ladder truck. That's what he is waiting on. As the building is basically, the top floor is engulfed, he's standing there on that balcony waiting for that ladder truck to his left to get over to him. And HFD, thankfully, from what we've learned so far, picked him off of that balcony and got him down to safety at the ground level. Just one of the unbelievable shots that some of our viewers are sending in, again, as they're essentially helping us cover this fire. Here's another live picture from Sky IHD at this point, and we just saw that picture of the construction worker. Well, that structure you were just looking at was just in front of this parking garage. It's getting doused with water right now, and you can see it has completely burned to the ground. Amazing when you think about that man was on that balcony there. That parking garage to your right, made of concrete, it was going to service the apartment complex. It is fine at this point, being made of concrete, but a lot of black smoke and white smoke kind of just permeating the air here in the Montrose area of West Dallas and Marconi. And again, we've found out that more than 70 HFD units were dispatched to the scene here, with nearly 200 personnel responding to this incident. It was a massive fire. No word yet on how many units were under construction here. But we have been able to find out that this apartment complex was owned by JLB Partners based out of Dallas. They are aware of what's taking place here with their property, and we've got calls into them and are just waiting to get some of the perspective they can give us as well. Again, more pictures continue to pour into our newsroom right now from Eyewitness News viewers. Want to show you some of the cell phone pics and other stuff that we're getting. Here's another vantage point. First, though, it appears from Sky Eye HD, and just different shots we were able to gather as Sky Eye was able to arrive on the scene. Again, that's the 5th floor where the fire allegedly started, where we saw on one of those balconies that construction worker standing. That's how the fire started. And that area that is engulfed has now since burned completely to the ground as firefighters continue just to kind of douse hot spots and just to make sure they are keeping this fire in check. We've got another Eyewitness News reporter on the phone right now here in the Montrose area, Mr. Foti Kalergis. And Foti, tell us where you're at right now and what you're seeing.
Yeah, we're actually on WOG, almost getting to West Dallas. That's where the media staging area is, and we're trying to get into this area, but I can tell you from a public safety standpoint, they have blocked the road for several blocks in each direction on West Dallas. Of course, that fire happening right now at West Dallas in the Montrose area. So we just arrived on the scene, and what we can see is a lot of fire trucks, a lot of ambulances, a lot of emergency response vehicles. And we hope to have some sort of briefing here as soon as we get a chance to park and get out and make contact with the public information officers.
And I know that everything's very preliminary right now, Foti, and there is just so much going on with this fire that HFT is really not able to kind of update you guys at this point. But you can kind of just tell me, this appears from Sky IHC to be a massive structure that in many spots has essentially collapsed and burned. What are you kind of getting a sense of how big this fire is in the Montrose area?
It is very big. In fact, it's so big, I was coming into work today at about 1 o'clock. I live in the Richmond area near Katy, and I could see it all the way from the West Park Tollway from that area. You can see a huge plume of smoke coming from near the downtown area. When we finally got to this area, we went to Montrose and the West Dallas area, we actually saw fire trucks and ladder trucks, and they were hosing this fire down. And it's really large. It's taking at least 1 to 2 blocks. From what I saw in that area. Of course, they're trying to keep everyone away from this area, and police are out here, and they're trying to keep the public safe, and that's, I think, another concern for the emergency responders out here, as well as fighting this fire.
All right, Eyewitness News reporter Foti Kalergis there at the media staging area waiting for an update. We'll certainly bring that update to you as soon as Foti gets it. Thanks a lot, Foti. Again, folks, this is a luxury apartment complex that has burned essentially to the ground in many areas. We've covered this thing since about 12:30 now. Luckily, at this point, we have no reports of any injuries, but we're going to continue to cover this fire with several different teams that are down on the ground, as well as Sky IHD. And as we get more information, we are certainly going to gather that and bring it to you in later broadcasts. But again, at this point, we have also want to give you a quick programming note. General Hospital will air at 1:05. I believe that is going to be a.m. tonight. Obviously, we had to break it at programming and bring you this picture live. Again, General Hospital airing at 1:05 a.m. Late tonight, early tomorrow morning, if you need to catch up with that program. But again, no injuries reported at this apartment fire that was under construction at West Dallas at Marconi in the Montrose area. We'll update you on later broadcasts of Eyewitness News beginning at 4 p.m. For now, we will send you back to programming.
Welcome back to Millionaire. Got crazy.